welcome once again to the Hall of Fame. And today we have very interesting Dr. Nitin Agrawal with us. He is a pediatric intensivist, and he has trained himself. He's done MD pediatrics from Vadodra and super specialty from Bombay. And he is practicing in Vadodra for last 16 years. He started from a small setup in the rented space, and then after he's built up a big facility and around 100-bedded pediatric hospital he has developed, and rest of the success story let's listen from him. Congratulations, Dr. Nitin, and welcome to the Hall of Fame.
First of all, a big thank you for considering me eligible for such a famed thing. I have been a part of Doctorpreneur Academy for last almost 8 months now, and it has really helped me. Other than my success story, I believe there could be so many other success stories for those who have joined, and it would be a pleasure for me to share my experience, both as my own setup as well as my experience with Doctorpreneur Academy. Thank you, Dr. Pranav. I took medical in 1992. Basically, in those times, having good marks was the major criteria of taking MBBS. But yeah, I did have interest in medical, and I was always keen. And fortunately, I got Baroda Medical College, and so I joined in 1992 as a MBBS. I passed out MD Pediatrics in 2000 from Medical College Baroda. Thereafter, I worked as a pediatrician with one of the senior pediatricians of Baroda for 1.5 years, just to gain experience in practical pediatrics. But I was always interested in doing some more specialization other than just a general pediatric branch. That took me to Mumbai, where I was trying for neonatology fellowship, but those times there used to be only one seat available in the entire KEM. So unfortunately, I could not get the DM. But to my luck, I got sort of a registrarship in PD Hinduja Medical College, PD Hinduja Hospital in Mumbai, where I joined as a registrar, senior registrar, and Dr. Sunu Udani was my mentor. She is a very famous pediatric intensivist of India as well as internationally. And fortunately, in 2004, I entered into the first fellowship program. In fact, I would proudly say that I was the first batch fellow of pediatric intensive care in India. And I passed out in 2005, and thereafter, there was actually the struggle started after doing the super specialization.
Okay.
As we all know, in India, super specialization, especially in pediatrics, is quite new. So there were not many hospitals available to absorb me in a job. So I had to go to Ahmedabad to join my first. My first job as a pediatric intensivist was in Sterling Hospital, Mumbai. Because that was the only established intensive care unit in this area. Baroda had one ICU, but unfortunately there was no vacancy. So my father was very, very angry, and he told that, why have you done this specialization when it doesn't allow you to stay in Baroda? And he was not ready to accept, because he's an engineer. So he was not ready to accept that you're so highly qualified, why you can't get a job in Baroda. So it took me almost 2 years. 2006, I came back to Baroda, and obviously there was no job offer. It was not a very lucrative job offer. It was an offer of a pediatrician only. So then we decided to get into a private model. Fortunately, my father comes from a decent background, and he had bought a place for me way back in 1998 when I just entered into my MD pediatric program. So I had a space of my own, which we thought that we can convert it into a referral center, which was basically a dedicated neonatal intensive care unit. And with my acquaintance in Baroda and with my experience in Baroda, I got hold of 3 of my pediatric friends who joined me as a partner, and together we started our dedicated referral hospital. It was the first pediatric referrals hospital in group practice in Baroda way back in 2006. It was a very, very small setup. It was a 2 BHK, 3 BHK flat, which I owned. And, so we made a private limited company. And in that company, we rented out that property. Though the ownership of the property was my father's only. But we used to pay rent to my father. And that's how we started with a 16-bedded NICU PICU. So it was a 10-bedded NICU and so we had 4 special rooms and 6 general ward patients and just a 20-25 bedded setup, and a very small expenditure of 30 lakhs. Though in 2006 that 30 lakhs was a big amount, but we started with just spending, and we were just 4 people, so hardly we spent 7.5 lakhs each, and we started off with the setup. There were people who questioned us whether such a dedicated only referral center, only NICU PICU would run or not. So, but to our pleasure, we had a very, very huge response. Our hospital was occupied right from day one, from the very word go. And in 4 years, we started falling short of that place. And then gradually we went to other property, which was owned by a chemist. And he, in that way also, there we didn't go for a rental, this thing. We went for a joint collaboration. Like he used to run the pharmacy, and he gave his place to us. And that's how we gradually emerged. And in 2016, then because the turnover was very, very high, we were catering to almost 300-350 admissions per month. That was a time when I felt that I need one more pediatric intensivist or a neonatologist to support me in running the setup. And that was the time when 3-4 pediatricians who had worked under me as pediatricians, they came back after their training in Pune and Mumbai. And then that was a time when we started our own separate hospital. We were a group of 4 pediatric intensivists and neonatologists. We started our own hospital in a posh area in Vadodra, which was again a rented property. The rent kept on increasing. We started with 25,000 rupees rent, and we are now currently paying 5.5 lakh rupees per month. So the setup started becoming huge. And last lockdown, 2020 March, was the time when we thought that the rental is becoming too heavy, and now we are established. We got our NABH accreditation, full NABH accreditation in 2018. We were quite confident, and we had a legacy. Now we had a lot of goodwill in the market, and that was the time we thought of buying a place, because many small hospitals were crumbling, especially pediatrics, because pediatric and few branches in medical were really suffering because there was no patient load. And so many of my doctor friends told, now we are closing down our indoors, and we'll like to join you. And that was the time we thought of buying. So in 2021 January, I bought a 10,000 square feet area in the same area, which is just half a kilometer away from my current hospital. And now we are almost in the stage of completing the construction, and hopefully our hospital should be commissioned by January 2023. It would be a 98-bedded super specialty pediatric hospital, exclusive pediatric hospital with almost I would say 16 pediatric super specialists working under one roof.
Fantastic. So your journey has shown that 2-3 points I wanted to emphasize or highlight here. First is the importance of building up a team. You slowly build up a team from your friends, colleagues, and students.
Absolutely.
That is how you are now successfully planning to run your 100-bedded setup. And second point is you have started from rented setup. There was a stepwise growth from each step. And you slowly grew the model, and then you again went into the higher step, then again into higher step, and things like this. Fantastic. So what is the secret of your this team? What special you do?
Yes, sir. So team, I would really say that team is a matter of luck as well as your lookout. Luck means because it's very difficult to have the same mindset. It's very easy to get a colleague, which is who is of the same branch. But what matters is probably the mindset. I remember very clearly Mr. Amit Moga had told this, that your mind should match. It's like a marriage. You have to understand the weaknesses. You have to understand the strengths of each partner, and they should be in the same mindset. There might be different personalities, but the motive should be same. Whether it is to serve or whether it is to earn, the motive should be same. At the same time, there should be some sort of differences also, because if everybody is same, then sometimes there would be clashes. So what we have done is, like, we have one neonatologist who takes care of our NICU. We have one pediatric intensivist who takes care of our PICU pediatric patient. we have one lady who is not very, doesn't want to be very active in the clinical part, so she takes care of the admin, and she has actually taken courses from Symbiosis Pune for quality controls, and she has helped us in getting NABH accreditation. And myself, I have been in market for last 20 years, so I have a very good PRO-ship. So what we do is we have differentiated our work, and we don't really fall into each other's field unless it is called for. So my secret of partnership is obviously you have to have a lookout for those people who are of your mindset. Give them a good proposal and give everybody the chance to earn. Like I was the senior most, so what I have done is I have invested maximum. So because I was monetarily more sound than what my junior most partner is, so I give them the opportunity that even if you don't invest the same amount which I am investing, it's okay, but we will still be able to earn almost equally same.
Right.
And that's how I have built up the team. And fortunately, it's working very well, and we are looking out for a much more partners, because now more and more doctors, pediatric super specialists want to join us. So because of our success story.
And another important issue which usually comes to doctors' mind is the HR and how to manage the staff. So what is your secret for that?
So secret is actually, it's a difficult task. HR is one of the most difficult, right? The HR starts from your own partners. So first of all, the unity amongst your directors is most important, because if the 4 directors are not, in a good relationship, in a good symbiotic relationship, then it percolates down into the management, and management starts taking advantage. The people start taking advantage of it. So there should not be, even if there is a conflict, it should be only between 4 of you. Your staff should, or your main people should not be aware that one doctor is pulling other doctor's leg. So that is, I think, one very big secret which I, in my previous setup where we other 4 friends of mine were working, we found that many of us had small differences, but those differences were being discussed in open with the staff. So I think that should be avoided. It's very common for people to talk about the partner or the doctor very loose language, and sometimes the staff takes advantage of that, and the things start going bad. One is that obviously you have to have a professional person. So in the current in 2006 when we started, we obviously didn't have any dedicated HR person, and I was the only one who was handling HR. So by remaining soft with the staff, by at the same time training them, because in 2004 when I came, I was the only intensivist of Vadodra, and no staff actually knew what is intensive care and how to take care of the baby. So literally I had to come at 11 o'clock in the night only to do the suction of a newborn baby. So that is how the thing started. But then gradually training, and I would really like to tell you that my all staff who worked with me in 2006 are still there with me.
Fantastic.
And they believe. So I've helped them in taking loans because their children were getting. So there were 2-3 staffs who needed money, and our company policy was not to give lend money to any of the employees. So I used to personally help them out. So this is how I built confidence in my staff, in my medical officers. So we could not hire pediatricians. So what we used to do, we used to hire homeopathic doctors, and then I used to train them. I used to, they all like OPD. So I used to allow them to sit in my OPD consultation room also. At the same time, teach about finer nuances of handling a sick baby. And as far as the staff is concerned, yeah, lot of training, lot of patience, lot of cover-ups. Like I have faced very big problems because of untrained staff, because my central lines would get blocked, or the parents would feel the staff is not taking good care. So all those issues did come up, but gradually now since we are an NABH hospital, so we now have an HR manager, and we are now doing it absolutely rightly the way it should be. But yeah, it's a gradual process. In the beginning, you as a doctor only have to do all those things, and you have to learn those finer nuances of handling the things. In last 15 years, I've seen that the staff has matured a lot. A lot of people now need personal time also, other than the money, and the staff should be well paid. I think many times doctors feel that nursing staff ko itna kyun paisa dena. But I would proudly say that I pay the highest salaries to my staff in the pediatric community of Baroda. So many of my pediatrician friends say कि तू बहुत ज़्यादा पैसा देता है. So I feel कि नहीं यार, मतलब they deserve. Actually, they take so much care, and they are there available round the clock even on festivals. So respecting the nursing staff, giving them the right environment to work, and training them, and obviously retaining them. That is very important.
That is only how you can retain somebody for a 15-year period.
Absolutely.
Okay. Then another question, important question I wanted to ask was that you have been through the 3 steps of initial 20 bed to 50 bed, now 100 bed. So what have been your lessons in the previous two rented places which would have been done a better way, or maybe you would have approached it a little different angle?
Okay. I think
Some lessons.
renting out a place is the best thing. The first project should always be, unless you have your own property. See, I had my own property, but since I wanted to start an NICU, I could not do it in that way. But I think that was the best model to grow, because there was no fixed liability and there was no fixed expenditure of that. Yeah, whenever you rent a property, obviously there would be shortcomings because the structure would not be made as per the hospital. So you have to do the changes, and you'll have to adjust to many of the things. Like the lift was a big problem. It was an apartment, and the lift was always a big problem. Maintenance was a big issue, and it was very difficult for us to maintain the lift. So secondly, there was a problem of water supply. We were dependent on the water supply. So we did have our own water supply, but it was short. So we used to depend on uh, the building for the water supply. There were so many leakage issues and all that. But I think that's a part, when you are doing something which is in a less expenditure, you have to accept it. Gradually, as we went into the other bigger building, we faced again problems, issues of leakages in the toilets, and a little bit of dissatisfaction. Though it was actually a entire hospital and entire building which was converted into a hospital. So but I still believe that renting out, especially if it's a group practice, you should not immediately jump into buying fixed
Buying
assets.
property.
Uh, Buying, because whenever you are in a partnership, there it is likely that differences might crop in after 4 5 years. At that time, you should always have liquid assets. So in case if anybody wants to exit, the asset distribution should not become a difficult task.
Right.
Because if you have very costly assets and then one of the partner exits, then it might become very difficult for you to pay him. So there should always be a lock-in period whenever you are having a fixed asset. And initially, it should always be a low burden. This thing, it should be a liquid asset. It should be a working asset rather than fixed assets.
That brings me to
As
the
you as
second.
gradually,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So
Listen.
as you grow up, then only you should try to go into the fixed assets where you can actually make your assets. Otherwise, you should not hurry up. It can
That
cause
brings me to
problems.
the next question. You have been running partnership for quite some time. So what has been the success mantra for having a good partnership?
Actually, I would say success mantra is the success is the reason. The failures are the reason for success. I would say, like, I would not really say failure, but what happened when I started my first partnership with a group of pediatricians, because I was the only pediatric intensivist. It was a very good partnership. We did very well. We all earned a lot. We did create a lot of name in Vadodra, and many of my partners are still very happy with me. But what happened is that actually, as things started growing up, as a lot of money started coming in, many of the partners felt that I was like I was the highest common factor in distribution. So what sort of distribution we had is that I used to get, say, 10% of the total hospital bill from every patient, whereas my other partners would get 10% from their own patients only. So what used to happen is that my bulk was becoming much more than what my partners were. So what happened is that there was a skewed distribution.
Right.
I was getting 3 times of what individual my partners were getting. So if my paycheck was say 5 lakhs, their paychecks were not crossing 1.5 lakhs. So that started creating a lot of sort of not obvious but very small amount of disturbances between us, and there was no way out. So what I would say is, whenever you make partners, you should always be clear as to how you would work and how you would earn. The percentage should be decided rather than the amount, and that percentage should remain same irrespective of the amount it converts into. That thing is very very important, and it should not be changed. There should be a rule that whatever may be the turnover, the amount, whatever the percentage of the this thing would remain same. And there should be clear policies about hiring more partners. What happened in my case was, I wanted more partners because I was the only working partner and there was no choice. But when other partners wanted to join, they had to pay a very big amount, because other partners felt that we should now be able to get the returns
Leverage on the success.
but which leverage on the success, but which they could not because nobody was ready to pay them.
Yeah.
So somehow my partnership grew into I wanted my partners to remain with me, but then somehow it was not working out. So I had to separate from my original partners and make a team of pediatric super specialists, and that is how now my current partners are more of pediatric super specialists. In the current partnership, we have made a very very strict rule that we will not be hiring any general pediatricians as a part of our team. So so that there is no conflict of interest. We all are working force, we all earn by working, and whatever referral patients we get, we distribute it equally. So whether I send a patient or my other patient, other partner sends a patient, the distribution doesn't get affected. So my take on partnership is that it should be very, very clear. It should be thoroughly experienced, and it should not be made by the amateurs. It should be made by people who are in the field. I would really recommend, Doctorpreneur Academy to guide you, because they know the nuances. I believe me, when I attended the first lecture, it felt as if you are telling my story. Because you told me that you should not go by for owned property. You should always go for it. Exactly, I followed that. So the rule book should be very, very clear, and that is how the partnership works.
That is what we say, everybody, that for a partnership there are 3 V's. You have to align in the vision, then you have to align in the virtues. Both have to have same virtues, and third is the velocity. One partner is going fast, one partner is going slow, and the velocity will not match. So
absolutely, see velocity. I'll give you an example. One of my friend who was very senior, who was 17 years senior to me. He was previously a government employee, and then he left government and joined here. Like, what used to happen is he always just slow me down. Nitin, you're going too fast. Nitin, ऐसा नहीं कर सकते. Nitin, can't do that. And he always used to feel that there would be government rules and we will not get clearances, will not get NC. See, every project would have problems. We should not, all the partners should be confident. Yes, we will be able to do it. If one of your partner is, pulling you down, we will not take risk, what happens is 1 out of 4, one more partner will fall down. And then gradually the one who's most motivated would also start feeling it. I also don't want to.
That will create a doubt in his mind.
Yes, it starts creating doubt in the mind. So that's very important.
Fantastic. So how has been your journey in Doctorpreneur Academy?
Yeah, sir. So how it happened is, like, I was going through Facebook, and I'm not a very big Facebook fan. I did your Facebook learning this thing also, and it helped me a lot. But I downloaded Facebook on my mobile, and I was just going through, and I was looking out for some sort of help, because I had just bought a land. Last January I bought this land, and I was looking out that I should be able to all those fears, whether it will be successful or not, and aisa na ho ke I'm going too fast, or maybe that fear whether it will run or not, and who will fill those the hospital and all those things. So I just came through your videos, those your small standard, your those photographs you show on the Facebook. So I saw that, and I just went through all the videos, and then I attended that free session on Sunday morning, from morning 10 o'clock to afternoon 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And believe me, I was the first person who paid you on that day, because others were thinking, and I was like, the entire session was so good. Normally whenever I go to attend lectures or CMEs, I don't attend the whole thing because it becomes too boring. But that day it was really good, and that's how I joined Doctorpreneur Academy. After me, 3 of more my friends, one from Meerut, one from Ahmedabad has also joined your academy, one from Vadodra, Dr. Intensivist, and Dr. Anuj Rastogi. They all have joined you on my insistence, and they all are entrepreneurs. And thereafter, obviously, I saw all your virtual videos which you have uploaded, and really, I would really tell you that it has helped me in building up the confidence. When you are doing something and the other person who is experienced in it and echoes it in a very scientific way, in a very nice way, not in a very marketing sort of a way. So what I could feel from your interviews and from your sessions, whichever I've attended, was that you are not here to sell anything. You are here only to discuss, talk, and inform doctors that how to be a good entrepreneur. As we all know that we doctors are not very good entrepreneurs, businesspreneurs. So that helped me a lot in boosting my morale. Though in my city I am considered one of the biggest entrepreneur in medical field. Many of my doctors praise me for that. But believe me, there is always a fear inside. And Doctorpreneur Academy helped me in building up that confidence that okay, yes, Nitin, you are doing right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to you.
It has been an effort which has been actually guided by the things that you are telling. We want to empower the doctors to become successful entrepreneurs, because if they will be driving the whole mission ahead, then it is in the best interest of the patients also and the whole country also.
Absolutely.
Are you attending our inner circle calls on every 15 days you are taking?
Yeah, sir. Actually, recently, last 3-4 Saturdays, I was not available. I had a few other commitments.
We have been following
I get time. But I do see the videos which you post next day. So I'm not able to attend the live sessions, but then next day when you post those videos, and I try to cover it them as much as
And
possible.
you must attend the morning grace rituals.
Yes, sir. Actually, it's a tough task for me. My wife is a big health freak. She gets up 5:30 in the morning. She has been telling me for last 20 years to get up in the morning, but some of my weakness is that I'm not able to get up too early. But
You
I
can,
believe that once this project is over, I'll start doing that early morning sessions.
yeah.
I definitely
So,
love
what
it.
has been your experience in this project? What have you learned, or what have you want to share that something which should be done or
Right.
should not be done?
So this project is something much bigger than what I had actually anticipated. Ours is a ground plus 7-story hospital, which is a dedicated pediatric hospital, the only one of its kind in Baroda, or I would say in Gujarat, because dedicated 100-bedded pediatric hospitals usually are not thinkable. But fortunately, in Baroda, we have got all pediatric super specialists like a pediatric nephrologist, a pediatric cardiologist, pediatric onco, pediatric neuro, pediatric ophthal, pediatric endocrino, everywhere. So we have got 8 super specialists in Baroda. And Baroda is a very small base. So the good thing is that we don't face too much of competition. Pediatric is a branch which is not looked forward by the corporates. So we are corporate orphans. So we always are happy that way that we don't have a threat
Yeah.
from corporates. Second thing is we have the facility of pediatric super specialists, because making up a big hospital, you always need services of good doctors. So
Yeah.
fortunately, we have got good pediatric super specialists, and there is not too much of competition between them. So we have only 1 or 2 pediatric super specialists in each field. So all of them agreed, and it was very easy for me to convince. I took help of a lot of your, the sayings and what all you post. I have a WhatsApp group wherein I send all your, the things that you post to me. I post it to them. So that helped
Good,
me a
good.
lot in
Great.
building up their confidence. In fact, I have shown a few of your videos also to them. One of them, as I told Dr. Jiten Jaiswal, is already a part of Doctorpreneur Academy.
Okay.
So we have been able to collect almost all pediatric super specialists to work under this common hospital. The problems which we faced, the biggest was clearance from corporation. My colleagues is that whenever you start a hospital, always keep 25% extra as a money for ancillaries or whatever which you have unanticipated. If you are able to save, it's good, but you should be prepared that whatever your budget would be, things would go haywire beyond your control, and you might end up spending at least 25% more than what you have actually thought of. So that was my biggest
Very
challenge.
important tip. Now the next question is like, what has been your marketing strategy? How you has grown your practice, other than the one-to-one?
Actually, so frankly speaking, I have a person who handles the marketing of my hospital. He has been with me for last 16 years. But what we do is what we call direct marketing. We just meet pediatricians. We talk to all the people who are our referral doctors, and we just create a goodwill. We
Right.
just try to talk about our strengths and about the characteristics of our hospital, and how we are unique, and how we can give different packages to our poor patients, and how we can help them in the emergencies. That has so far been our only source of marketing till now. But now for the bigger hospitals, we are looking out for much bigger platforms like digital media marketing, for which I took special classes organized by Doctorpreneur Academy. I reintroduced myself to Facebook, and I got very well trained. It was a full day session on Facebook, and I tried to understand how Facebook can be utilized for doing all the businesses. And because these are now the in things. Most of the people are now on Facebook and Insta. So I got myself introduced, and what I realized is that whatever marketing other persons can do for it, what marketing we can do for ourselves, nobody else can do it for
Nobody can
us.
match that.
So doctor has to remain active himself, especially in the digital media world. You have to create your own videos, you have to create your own posts, and you have to be in touch with people. So as far as marketing is concerned, as of now, I am quite limited to only direct marketing. I have not yet used, but I do wish that next 1 year I would really fall into it, and I'll take direct help from Doctorpreneur Academy as much as possible once my new setup starts working. So digital media is one which I'm looking out for.
So you have been a very, very good and a fast decision maker. That is what I have seen. Whether it has
Right.
been making decisions for new hospitals, jumping on, or making partners, or making career choices, even
Right.
joining the
Yes, sir.
academy and joining the Facebook
Absolutely.
courses.
I'm always fast.
Yeah, so you have always been a fast decision maker, and success
Absolutely,
follows
sir. Absolutely.
speed.
Yes, sir. Actually, that has been my strength, because I don't lose time in taking decisions. But yeah, I do calculate a lot. But then take a decision, I immediately fall into it and I start executing it. So I think that's very, very important. Many people I have seen have not been able to get success just because they delayed their decisions.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very important characteristic that a person should have to take fast decisions.
What is your advice to a new MD pediatrics or a new diploma pediatrics? How should he shape out his career
Uh,
if he wants to become an intensivist?
Absolutely, sir. That's a very common thing which I do whenever a pediatrician comes and asks me. In fact, I have done this thing few days back only. When a pediatrician came to me, he's a DCH, and he wanted to do he wanted to do DNB. So first of all, I told you that you have already done DCH, and now you want to do additional secondary DNB. So first, I told that whenever you do any super specialization or whenever you do any more degrees, you should first know why you are doing it. Will it really help you in the career? Will it really help you in establishing yourself? And in private practice, will it really matter whether you have 2 degrees in ahead of you or 3 degrees ahead of you?
Right.
I always believe is you should always have a vision, and that is what I did to my friends. I remember the day, it was a Sunday morning when I had gone to take rounds, and my on-duty pediatrician, who is now my partner, he told me, "Sir, I want to talk to you for 2 minutes." I told, "Fine, let's finish the round and we'll sit." We sat for 2 hours, and he told me that, "Sir, I want to do neonatology fellowship." I told, "Why do you want to do neonatology fellowship?" He told that I'm always interested in neonatology and I want to do it. I told, "Fine, you are interested in neonatology, but have you thought what will you do after doing neonatology?" So he
Right.
told me, "Sir, मैंने अभी वो नहीं सोचा है." I told, "You first think, even if you do neonatology, you will not be able to establish yourself as a neonatologist immediately.
Yeah.
You'll need a team, you'll need a lot of money, you'll have to decide the place, and then only you'll be able to do it. And just don't do for the sake of doing it or just because you're getting it." So he told, "Nah, sir, I'm ready." Then I discussed it with him on next Sunday that I'm planning to make a hospital. Would you like to join me as a neonatologist? And he immediately started thinking from that point of view. He did his neonatology. Within 6 months of his completion of neonatology, he joined me as a partner, and now we are flourishing. And so, what my advice would be that whenever you come pass out as a pediatrician, always think what is how you look yourself in next 5 years. Whether you want to establish yourself as a general pediatrician in Baroda in the city, or you want to do super specialization. If you want to do super specialization, don't waste too much time in working. Whenever you join, you'll have to first work for some time, then only you'll get the degrees. So don't waste time in between. Take decisions fast. Decide what you want to be and decide whether if you do this specialization, how will you establish yourself in which field. If you are looking out for jobs, your area should be to establish yourself in a big city, because small places don't have such hospitals which can actually give you a good money for your degrees. And
Right.
if you want to settle in a small city, you should be ready that you'll have to spend a lot of money in buying a place, in making the setup, and then getting the patients, because usually most of the super specialists are not allowed to do general practice. So you will not be able to do general pediatrics, and you will have to restrict yourself only to your specialty. So these are all very important things which people should think before jumping into any new degrees or new arenas.
You have been a real rock star pediatrician who has been uh, jumping one success to another one. And I hope that you are more and more successful in your new endeavor or a new project also. So where do
Thank
you
you
see
so much,
after
sir.
yourself in 5 years from now?
Sir, I can see myself 10 years from now retired from intensive care and only doing my OPD practice and
Okay.
running my hospital the way I want. I am already 48 now, and I plan to retire at 60 by handing over all my intensive care job to my colleagues who are already doing great. And I'm sure like what they are working for me, they will have people to work under them. As of now, I concentrate myself only as an administrator of the hospital, and I take care of the HR as well as the PRO ship. I don't handle intensive care patients directly, because that work which I did for the first 15 years myself, I always wanted to have competent colleagues, and now they are doing it for me. And 10 years down the line, I see myself as a good doctorpreneur, as a person as a doctor who's successfully running a hospital with the help of doctor partners and not sleeping partners. So I don't have any of the sleeping partners. All my partners are doctors, and I always share it with them that the way you are struggling as of now in for last 7 8 years, you in next 5 7 years you will have assistants like what I have in you. you will also have such assistant to work for you, and a day will come when I'll retire and you will take my place. So, and then gradually at the age of 70, I just want to continue doing OPDs and just be happy about creating a good pediatric hospital in my city.
Yeah. Hopefully you don't make one but multiple hospitals.
Hopefully, let's see how the things go on.
Yeah. And you already started building your legacy, like you already started a second generation to work under you and train them.
Yes.
The circle is almost getting complete.
Yes, sir. Actually, that's what my dream was, that I should not be working, but at the same time, people who are working with me should be happy working with me, and they should not feel that they have not been able to get their due work. All my partners are very happy, and they also want to carry on that legacy. That at certain age, you should be able to give away your hold of, like, when I left my intensive care, I was always afraid whether parents would really recognize me. But today is the day when people take me as a bigger and a better person than actually what I used to do when I used to work. Like, they understand that now Dr. Nitin is not available round the clock, but his colleagues and his friends are available, and they look to me as a more respectable person.
Fantastic.
So I think that has what mattered to me a lot.
So it has been a great experience, learning a lot of things from you, and
Thank you.
seeing your success story. It has been a fantastic interaction.
Thank you so much.
And I
Keep
hope
in
that
touch with
you will have multiple hospitals very soon, and this one will be the booming one, the most successful
Thank
in
you so
Gujarat.
much, sir. I would like to I'll invite you. I'll call you personally also. But we hope that by December our hospital will be ready, and I would be very, very happy to have you and Mr. Amit as a special invitee in my hospital.
Thank you so much.
You're not very far away from Vadodra.
Yes, definitely.
Sure, sir.
Thank
See
you.
you, sir. See
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Okay, sir.